welcome to Tattered Stitch Embroideries. The holidays are coming up, and this week we have a really sweet little pot holder that we're going to show you how to construct. And it comes available in 2 different sizes. Okay, so first things first, I have hooped my tearaway stabilizer. You can also use wash and gone if you'd like, but you just need to make sure that it is super tight within your hoop. You want it to be drum tight. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stitch out my placement stitch. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and run the tack down stitch for the insole right, which I've already gone ahead and laid into place. Okay, so now we're just going to go ahead and trim away the excess material. This stitch is also just a little bit inside of the placement stitch of the pot holder. I do that to delete some of the bulk for the final product. And then the next step, we're going to go ahead and lay down our fabric and run the tack down stitch for that. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and embroider out the honeycomb background pattern and the main pattern of this design, which is the candy canes and the Merry and Bright text. So now that our design is done, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start with the borders of the pattern. And I'm going to lay down my first placement stitch, which is going to be at the very top of the design. Okay, so my placement stitch has been done, it's stitched out, and I have cut 4 panels of fabric for my edging, and they are all 2 inches by roughly 10 or 9.5 to 10 inches long. This is big enough to go ahead and to make my borders. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take my fabric and I'm going to lay it wrong side out, and I'm going to overlap it just slightly, about 1/4 of an inch over this placement stitch. I'm going to tape it down. We're going to run the tack down, and then when that's done, we're going to fold it up and out of the way, and then we're going to stitch it again. Okay, so my tack down stitch is complete. Now I can pull up my panel and I can press it with my finger to kind of get a nice little fold in there. And I'm going to tape it so that it's out of the way, secured. And I'm going to run my tack down stitch again. Okay, so now we're going to repeat the process for the bottom panel. I'm going to run my tack down, or my placement. Okay, so my placement stitch is done right there, and again I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lay down my fabric strip, and I'm going to overlap it by maybe about 1/4 of an inch, and I'm going to tape down the edges here to secure it into place, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to stitch out another tack down. Okay, with my placement stitch complete, or tack down I mean, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fold it over again, just like I did with the top. And we're going to run our tack down stitch. Once this is done, we're going to repeat the process for the sides. Okay, so with the front panel now completely stitched out, it's time to embroider on a placement stitch for the ribbon portion of the pot holder. Okay, so my placement stitch is in the corner over here for my ribbon. So I've just folded my ribbon in half and I'm laying my ribbon over the placement stitch, taping it into place as best as I can, hopefully keeping that ribbon away from the tack down, taping both ends of it, and now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to run my tack down for the ribbon. Okay, so with the ribbon complete and the front of my panel completely done, we're going to flip our hoop over, and I have cut a piece of muslin to go over the back portion of the pot holder. This is going to hide any stitches from showing. Let me just adhere that really well so it doesn't shift. Put this back into the machine, and we're going to run our tack down stitch. And then I'm going to show you how to put the final panels on for this pot holder. Okay, so we have 2 panels to finish up this back portion of the pot holder. And they're roughly 10 inches by 10 inches squared. I wanted to leave enough fabric so that they would overlap each other when I place them into my hoop. So I'm going to fold like so, and I'm going to put one panel right here, and I kind of want it to overlap the center a bit. And my fold is facing inward or toward the center of the pattern. And I'm going to do the same thing with this piece. I'm going to overlap my center so that there's probably roughly about an inch worth of overlap. You can do a little more, you can do a little less, depends on what you want. I'm going to pull it down just slightly. Alright, and then I'm going to tape this into place. And then we're going to run our final tack down. Okay, so we are done with our pot holder. The tack down stitch is complete. So I'm going to pull this out of the hoop, and then I'm going to trim away all of my excess fabric, and then it'll be ready to flip inside out, and we'll have a finished pot holder. I used tearaway for this project. I'm just going to trim all my sides here. Alright, with our edges clipped, I'm going to just flip it over and pull it right side out. Now this is the same way that I construct a lot of my coasters. Same exact construction. Work the pattern flat and then iron it. So. But here, basically, is the pot holder. Thank you so much for stopping by this week. We hope you enjoyed our video.